into your debt ratio. And if your debt ratio supersedes the bottom figure of 36% prior to you even getting a loan, you would not qualify for a FHA program, period. Okay? Just to let you know. Okay? You cannot supersede that. So your collections, whether they're old or not, you're going to have to draw settlements. I used to do it all the time. Negotiate on them. You draw settlements for them. Settle. Get rid of them. Keep documentation of proof that you have it. Take that documentation of proof and send it to the reporting agency, asking them to delete it off or mark it paid as agreed or mark it paid. Okay? If they fail to do that, you must keep the documentation for the underwriter so it is not calculated against you in your debt ratio. And any arrangement that you make, and yes, can you have multiple points of that? Of course you can. So you may have a few collections that were paid. Do you have another few collections that was settled, that you made short settlements on it? And then you may have the others that you are on a payment plan. But remember, the payment plan calculations of what you're paying a month will be added into your debt ratio. And you got to be careful that it does not at all tap over, in my opinion, tap over 24%. Okay? It cannot tap over 24%. Just to let you know. I know I said 36 earlier. I said 36, that cannot all your debt prior to you not even getting the new loan supersedes 36%. You're not getting a loan, period. But what you're looking at is it not superseding the top figure of that fraction, 24 over 36. The top figure, remember now, is 24% of your bills that you're paying. The 36 is added for the promissory note that you'll be signing on that property. It cannot supersede 36%. Okay? Or you need some more money now. Okay. Moving on. Flipping. If I purchase a property from an investor or from a seller, and the seller acquired the property through flipping, can I put even though I didn't acquire the property like that, I'm just buying it from him or her, can I qualify for a FHA loan? Well, here's what FHA says. Flipping property owners to sell, can FHA loans be placed on this property? FHA defines the seller's date of acquisition, means when he got the property, as the date the seller acquires legal ownership. FHA defines resale date that he's selling to you as the of execution of the sale contract by all parties intends to finance. So in other words, the resale occurring within a 90-day or fewer after the acquisition, the property that's being sold within a 90-day or fewer follows a current owner's date on mortgage. The resale occurring 91 to 180 days after acquisition, a mortgage must obtain a second appraisal by another appraisal. In other words, the resale date of a property is between 91 and 180 days following the acquisition of the property by the seller, and the resale price that's over 100% of the purchase price paid by the seller to acquire the property. The required second appraisal must include documentation to support the increased value. Second appraisal will not be charged to the borrower. The mortgagee must obtain. Oh, let me stop right here. Now, sum that up for me, Rick. All right. In answering the question, can you put an FHA loan on a flipped property? Well, answer is yes and no. This is the no part. The no part is that the property is flipped on the date that the seller acquired the property. FHA looks at that date, but they will use the date that his name was put on title. Now, understand this. Even though you were put on title at the title company right then and there, it is a process time for it to go through the system, which is usually 30 to 60 days. Okay? But there's a date that is put by when they put you on title. In the state of Illinois, those dates are not forthgoing when first ordering a title unless you specify for a chain of title. Then those dates will be revealed to you on a different page. Are you with me or am I by myself? I heard a wise man say. So FHA is going to look at the date that seller was put on title and use that date. So if that date was in a 90-day or fewer, no, you will not be able to acquire that property. If that date was at a 91-day through 180 days, the answer to that question is no, you will not be able to acquire that property. FHA, as I about to mention earlier, the mortgagee, FHA will obtain a 12-month chain of title. Documentation compliances is what they're looking for. So you need to be 12 months on title. The seller needs to be before the seller can sell you who wants to qualify through FHA. All right. Now, if you're qualifying through a non-conforming lender, that's a different story. Certain non-conforming want you on there for 90 days or 180 days or 6 months. Got me? Certain other lenders will want you on there for 12 months, like FHA. All right. It's their way to try to curb all the flippings that was happening back prior to the market falling, and even on some, even after the market had fell. Okay. So FHA will require a 12-month chain. So that person have not been on title for 12 months, then FHA will say that house is not for you, at least if you want to do it under a FHA loan. Okay. Now, there are exceptions to the rules here under the flipping aspect under FHA. The exception comes for corporations that acquires property and put their employees in the property to live, like certain universities and certain corporations do. But then you move on, and so they decide to sell the property. That's an exception. They don't have to have a season on title to do that. State government also holds the exception. They don't have to be seasoned on title for 12 months. Okay? Because the employee was relocated. Other government contracted agency also earns the exception to the rules. Because they relocated their employee, they don't have to have a 12-month season on title. Okay? Is there any rules specifying the distance between a well, that's where well water is, and a septic tank? under FHA to qualify for this house out in this area, mostly in rural areas where you'll find well water that people may have and septic tanks. Even in my area, I have well water. I don't use it, because we have a pipeline through Chicago, through Lake Michigan, so we get that fresh water. I don't need to use that because you got a water softener. I have that downstairs too that helps soften that well water up for you. I don't drink well water, so I don't need that. But it's good to know in case all water gets shut off. I'm still not going to drink it, but still, it's just good to know. I don't have a septic tank, thank God for that. But there are areas that do have septic tanks and well water. So what is FHA guidelines if I happen to want to buy this house out here in this particular wonderful area? What are the footage guidelines from the property line that the septic tank and the well must be at? Okay, here you go. Minimal distance requirement. The property line at 10 feet. The septic tank must be 50 feet from the property line. The drain field must be 100 feet. The septic tank drain reduced to 75 feet if allowed by local authorities in your area. If the subject property line is adjusted to the residential property, then 10 feet distance requirement prevails. If the subject property is adjusted to now, the residential property or the roadway, there needs to be a separation distance of at least 10 feet from the property line. Under new construction that will contain a well and a septic tank, under new construction, the property line is at 10 feet. The septic tank must be at 50 feet. The absorption field must be at 100 feet. The seepage pit, better known as the cesspool, must be at 100 feet. The sewer lines must be at 50 feet from the property line because it will contain chemical compounds that's basically poison. And that's why the distance is there. 15 feet can be an exception in certain particular areas under certain authority or guidelines. Dry wells must be at 50 feet. Those are the requirements under FHA for the footage where it needs to be. Those are none exceptions to that particular point. Got to move on. Other questions came in. Manufactured homes. Can I obtain a FHA loan on a manufactured home? The answer to that question is yes, but it's under a different program. A manufactured home, what is that? That's a mobile home. That is a mobile home. Manufactured homes are mobile homes. So under Title I program, under FHA, approved lenders make loans from their own funds to eligible borrowers to purchase or refinance of a manufactured home or lot, or both. FHA insures the lender against loss if the borrower defaults. The Title I manufactured home loan are not federal government loans or grants. The interest rate, which is negotiated between the borrower and the lender, is required to be fixed for the entire term of the loan, which is generally 20 years.